What up, son? Woo! Look at that thing. Looking right, boy. So we're back over here at Jake's working on a Subaru again. We had a little issue. Once all the pipes were welded, powder coated, we dropped the car back down on the ground. Well, that changed the placement of the pipe connections. So you see here, there's like a small gap between the pipes. So we're gonna end up having to cut the pipe here, change the angle just a little bit, just so the intercooler and the piping connect back up the proper way. This side over here, this side has the same issue, it's just not nearly as bad. It flush mounts, it's just kicked off, you know, 1/4 of an inch. So first thing today, we're going to cut those 2 pipes, add the little pie cut into each one to get it to where it needs to be. And then we're gonna move on to the power steering reservoir and the intake tube. All right, so we went ahead, cut the driver's side piping, and we basically cut it here, and then we made a pie cut to squeeze into the gap. That's just enough to realign the intercooler piping. So I just ground the powder coat off this side. I'm gonna do the same to this side, clean up both pipes, and then we'll weld her in. So we got the pie cut piece welded into the pipe. It's all mocked up. So there's the pie cut piece we welded in. The flange is actually mate now, so I'm just going to go ahead, lube up the O-ring and throw them in there and check the seal. That was a tight fit with them seals. Pie cut's on. Now she's in there. Sweet. So we're working on the passenger side piping now. We got the clamps on the bottom and on the top here, and we're just making a pipe to fill this gap for to correct the alignment issue. We're not entirely sure what caused the alignment issue. We determined it was either the car being nailed down on the suspension, you know, because before it was full droop, it was up on jack stands. Now the wheels and tires are on the car. And also, he installed these chassis braces to kind of stiffen everything up. We think between the two things, it kind of just, it created just enough flex, if you will, or compensated for the flex to cause our alignment to be off. But once we get this piece cut and put in, we'll weld it up and we'll move on to the power steering reservoir and the intake tube. All right, so we're about to weld 2 new tabs onto the radiator, and then we're gonna fill a hole. There was a nipple there for a hose. We're gonna plug that hole, weld on these 2 tabs. So we got a tab here, and then we're gonna plug this hole. We just got the fans spaced off evenly all the way around, using a wrench as a spacer, but it works. So we'll weld these 2, plug this tab, and then we'll throw it in the car and see how it looks. Got everything installed. Next thing we're gonna work on is power steering reservoir. It's gonna go somewhere in this area. We're gonna fab it up. We're gonna mock it in place based on where the hoses connect to it. Wherever they fall is where this is gonna end up, just because that's gonna be the easiest option at this point. Just wherever the hose want it to be is where it's gonna stay. So we're gonna fab up the port that comes out of the power steering reservoir. Originally it come at an angle that didn't really work, so we're gonna angle it straight back. It's gonna pass underneath the inlet to the turbo, right into the fitting. So we got the AN fitting modified. Hose runs underneath the manifold. We're working on fabbing up the actual reservoir. I think we're gonna pick up 2 tabs and pick up these 2 threaded inserts right there, just to make life easy. So we just got all the tabs welded onto the power steering reservoir. So Jake's bolting it in now. Test fit, see how she looks. Once it looks good, we'll pull it out, round off the corners of the tabs, and it'll be pretty much finished.